Okay, so we're going to talk about what's called the encomienda system and how it impacts the Americas. So we just talked a little bit about the do now. So away we go. All right, I'll give you a second here. So, like I said, we're going to focus on the economic function of this whole thing. So if the purpose here is to gain, economic advantages through kind of conquering these places, now that they're conquered, you got to figure out how to deal with this land and make it economically productive. How are you going to kind of monetize this discovery, right? And this conquering new territories. So in the mid 1500s, Queen Isabella of Spain declares that this land in the New World belongs to Spain, and so do the people on it. So that meant that Spain can order these people around and tell them what to do on this land that belongs to Spain now. So they basically just steal land and people, and they decide that these people and this land belongs to us now, and we will do with the land and the people what we please. So this system is called encomienda. So basically what happens here is all of the land that Spain claims in the New World is chopped up into pieces, and those pieces of land are called land grants, and they're given to Spanish settlers. So basically, settlers will leave Spain, go to the New World, and take over this little land grant in the New World and use the natives there to work for them, especially in farming and mining. So the economic advantages here are stripping the land of all the raw materials and precious metals like gold and silver, but also using that land to produce cash crops, which they can then monetize, right? So basically the encomienda system is a way for Spain to force the natives to do all the manual labor for them so that they can just pure profit. They don't have to pay for labor. And that's what the encomienda system is all about. So it basically steals the land and enslaves the people. And that's pretty much their program. All right, I'll give you a second. So we spent yesterday looking at Maya, Aztec, and Inca and their ways of life that existed before the Europeans got there. But the Europeans are going to come and take control, and through this encomienda system, they're going to destroy the traditions and cultures of the native people and replace all of that with their own social, political, and economic systems. So the way of life for natives is dead and gone forever, and it is replaced by these new European systems. So we got one more slide here. All right, so you guys are going to copy this chart down. Pay attention to the pyramid shape here, and pay attention to the name of each class of people. So I'll give you a second, and then we will talk about this. Okay, so we're looking at another social system here, and it's just like the other social systems that we've looked at in a couple of ways. We're using this pyramid shape for a very, very specific reason, okay? We used it in feudalism too, right? King, nobles, knights, serfs. Here we're using the same shape, and for the same reasons. It's to indicate who sits above who on the social kind of pyramid here, and also what proportion of the population belongs to each class, right? So at the top are Peninsulares. These are Spaniards born in Spain, and the next class below them are called Creole, which are Spaniards that are born in the New World. So let's stop for a second here. Genetically speaking, racially speaking, the difference between Peninsulares and Creoles is nothing. There is no difference between them. Both Peninsulares and Creoles are born from pure Spanish parents. The only difference between them is that Peninsulares are born in Spain on the Iberian Peninsula. That's why they're called Peninsulares. Peninsulares are born in Spain. Creoles are born in the Americas. So that is the only difference between them. After that, the rest of this social system is based on race, which is not really something that we've seen yet. And this is kind of an instance of where we start seeing that. A social system based entirely on race. So after Peninsulares and Creoles, then we have mestizos. These are people of mixed race that are born, you know, their parents are one Spanish and one native, okay, of the Americas. So those are the children that are born that are half Spanish, half native. They are called mestizo. Later on, there will be children that are born that are half Spanish, half African slave or Caribbean slave, and those that class will be called mulatto. That's not on here, but that comes later. So after mestizo, the people of mixed race, then we have pureblood natives, and then pureblood African or Caribbean slaves. So this chart is important to understand because it's, like I said, one of the first times that we're going to see a social system that is built and centered on racial things, right? So the race of each person determines their social class, and that's not something we'd seen before. To this point, it's, are you noble? Are you a knight? Are you a serf? Right? Or what? You know, in the case of India, everyone's the same. Everyone is the same race, but, you know, are you Brahmin? Are you Kshatriya? Are you Sudra? Right? So what are the different positions? Those social systems are similar to this in that it's a pyramid, but they're not based on race. They're based on other things. So this is the first time we're seeing a social system that's based exclusively on race.